I wasn't expecting to find people in my parlor. What are you doing here? Who are you? Who are you? The tour, of course, the tour. Well, how do you do it? My name is Ruth Mary Bradley. And this is my home. Welcome to San Francisco. This is where I live, well, where I used to live. This was my home. It was. I wonder, do any of you remember any of my children? Did you ever meet my children? This is Margaret, Ruth Mary, and little Harry. They grew up in this house. Oh, those were some times. And Ruth Mary, oh, what a corker. She really made it interesting. You know, that child could butt heads with her father over absolutely everything, but never as much as over those blue-eyed dolls. I'll tell you what happened. In school, Ruth Mary learned about a man named Sidney Gulick. Put that thing down. Sidney was a missionary who spent most of his life in Japan, and he had recently returned to the United States feeling very dejected, feeling like he had totally failed in his life. There would be no world peace, and that was his mission, world peace. So he decided that there needed to be a program whereby the children would take on that quest for world peace. Absolutely. All of the children in the schools and Sunday schools, the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts would all gather dolls to be sent as friendship dolls to Japan. The State Department issued special passports for the dolls. And the children named the dolls, wrote little letters of friendship, and attached them to the dolls. Now, Ruth Mary's teacher wanted her class to be involved in this. And so, of course, Ruth Mary was all about it. But her papa would have none of this. You see, the businessmen of that era believed that anything good for Japan was bad for American business, and he would not consent. However, did I tell you that Ruth Mary was every bit as stubborn and determined as her papa? So with the help of her brother and sister, she came up with a program all of her own. And this is how the doll named Isabella came into our family. Oh, the hoopla over these dolls, you wouldn't believe it. 27,739 dolls gathered across this country. Dolls gathered east of the Mississippi River went out of New York Harbor, but west of the Mississippi, right from here in San Francisco. The plan was that these dolls would arrive in Japan by Hinamatsuri, the Japanese doll day. It's a very important day in Japan. And the dolls would be traveling first class on a luxury liner, you know, like the Titanic. Such a deal. Everybody came. Banners and bands, international press. The governor came and his wife. There were speeches and music. San Francisco did herself proud the day those dolls left for Japan. But that wasn't all. Japan reciprocated. And at the end of the year, here came 58 dolls to the United States. And when that boat landed in San Francisco, we partied again. Everybody came, international press, former first ladies. There was food and music, such a to-do. But ladies and gentlemen, those dolls were not just ordinary dolls. They were works of art, every one. They had silk kimonos. They had real human hair and skin like mother of pearl. Well, you know Ruth Mary, she was agog over these dolls. And every Saturday she took the nickel trolley to visit the doll that was on loan at our own museum in San Francisco. You know, I was really proud of Ruth Mary for her commitment to the program and her dedication to world peace. I was very proud of her for that, but of course, this was all very, very secret. Because if her papa had known what she was up to, he would have blustered the roof off. Oh, speaking of her papa, I need to get back up to the attic. It's almost tea time. I mean, back upstairs, just upstairs. What are you doing here?
Excuse me, ma'am, but what are you doing here?
Well, I live here.
Well, we came to visit you.
How lovely. I'm Ruth Mary. Nice to meet you. Is this your first time to come to San Francisco? Oops. Yes. I grew up here. I lived right here in this house all my life until 1941. And that was the year our world turned upside down. I left to go to college in 1941 and I went out east. Who could believe it? Was Papa right all along? I was devastated. How could this have happened? What about the dolls? The dolls were supposed to bring peace. What could have happened? Our whole world went quiet. We listened to the radio day and night. Everyone tuned in. Even the president's dog Fowler listened to his master's voice on the radio. I listened from my dormitory. And we all listened when the president announced to the world that we were now at war with Japan. How could this have happened? Harry, of course, joined up right away, as did every other boy that I ever knew in my entire life. I worried about Harry every day, prayed for him, and I thought about all those dolls. What happened to all those dolls over there? And why did this happen? And I wondered about the dolls here. And of course, we wondered, would we ever see peace again? But we did. And across the nation, towns of all sizes celebrated. San Francisco was overrun with sailors on their way home. Celebrations everywhere. And I know that you are probably wondering, I am not very adept at these things.
Well, 1941 people.
These are totally out of my generation. I know that you're wondering why or how I happen to have Isabella back home with me. I think it's on. Well, I'm not going to tell you because you'll have to read her story. If you want to know Isabella's adventures, you'll have to read them for yourself because I'm not a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you. But I will tell you this. Isabella's job was peace. And it may seem that she has failed in that, but she really didn't. Isabella brought peace and comfort to a dying child in Japan. And she brought peace and memory to my failing mother. But what she did for Papa, no one else could ever have done. She brought for Papa understanding. And understanding, we know, is the very basis of forgiving. And forgiving is the first step to peace. So Isabella's work really was peace, and she did succeed. And speaking of work, she and I have a lot of work left to do, and we need to get on with it, don't we?